Hello guys, it is that panda again. I'm here again with another video, and today we are just looking at, I guess, the beginning of a long week for our island. And I am honestly winging this video. I wing all these freaking videos. I don't even know what I'm talking about going in, but I will say something. While I edited this video down, it was like 2 or 3 hours of footage I edited down. I recognize the amount of screen flashing. So guys, tell me if it's annoying, and I will try to make sure I actually turn that screen flash feature off for my next island so you guys aren't struggling over this. And yeah, let's hop right into it. I'm sorry my intro was so freaking long. So to start off, I guess we just talk about what happened. I think we just honestly got totally cucked. Like we just couldn't coordinate after we got hit with the bug, and I think that really screwed us off like in early game, and then we end up losing our village, and we just can't maintain enough field presence. And I think the second we lost our village, our guys just decided it wasn't worth the hassle. They fought in the field for a while, just got some points, just were draining some resources for a while, and they just probably went to work. That's like the best I can say, because I mean our tier 6 players went off for a few hours, most of them did at least. And I mean, I'll be going through a lot of the reports at the end of the video. By the way, you guys are going to be looking at a lot of swarms, but you will see a lot of the reports near the end of the video. I kind of kept them all contained there. I was streaming while doing this, by the way, so you're going to be seeing a lot of idling on this footage, obviously, because I wasn't very, I guess, engaged on my phone. I was trying my best to make sure the recording was nice for when I did do these videos. But yeah, I do hope you guys enjoy either way. And yeah, it was like a lot of field brawling off the bat, and I think that it just wasn't the most efficient field brawling. We were, of course, fighting in territory, but I think the thing is, we ended up getting overwhelmed at some point number wise. You would have just too many whales just come and swarm the field, and we were like getting kind of overwhelmed in numbers. I get like we did have territory advantage, so like of course we have stat bonus in our like favor, and we also have the fact that we're kind of closer to our bases, but overall we lack the like whales. We lack the whales to kind of maintain the field for that long, and I think that's the biggest issue that we like actually found ourselves having. We do have some pretty good hitters or some really strong fighters, but in general we don't have a massive group of whales who can kind of overwhelm the field or just kind of maintain field presence for as long as HMB might with their healing or their speed ups or just even the gear to take better trades. It's overall a really rough situation to be in, and I think we just had to start giving it up. People were just kind of wobbling around, taking some little side picks and little fights, trying to just distract these guys, cause some issues. And you will see that a lot on our kind of when we turtled down, where we were popping through our bases. I'm not even sure if you'll see it in the videos, but I did do a lot of popping through bases. I was having a freaking blast, being a little rat, jumping from base to base, hitting marches, trying to reinforce rallies. That was really the most we could do. We do take on swarms for quite a while, and I mean, this was for at least, I would say, 3 hours maybe. Like I was up until I think 5 in the morning, and I went to sleep finally from like reset, and I was kind of fighting for a little while. I couldn't maintain the field presence as much as I would have liked to. It was just way too draining. The amount of speed ups and resources I was burning through in my bags throughout this event was absolutely nuts. But I do have a really good time kind of fighting in this whale bracket. It is super fun, and I do like getting my hands in on this. But yeah, they do swarm for a freaking buttload of time. I do think I speed up my footage to nearly 20% at times. So I'm sorry, guys. And yeah, you guys saw right there, I do need to turn off the flashing. If this red in the corners are not getting on your nerves, I do not know what would. But yeah, I think most of our whales were at work. I do think that, of course we still had people filling this tower, because I don't think I could have filled this tower alone, probably. It would have been quite a hassle. And we do take some pretty good trades at times. I think our trades here were more so mediocre than when we were on the helipad and kind of turtled up and just taking swarms and stuff. And I will show you guys that in like the next video or the video after that. But we took some insane trades on like a lot of these swarms on helipad. We will have some disgustingly reports kind of in this video still, and I will say that some of the reports actually got chopped off. Like there were swarms that would happen, and you would only see, I think, the rally, right? And of course it made the report look so bad, because you see like I think one was like maybe 12 million might to 70 million might trade. And, of course, that's a lot due to the debuffs and also the fact that we weren't able to keep the tower full out a lot of times. So the trades were worse. But then again, we weren't able to actually see the swarm. So I don't know what the actual damage was on that. And it was kind of annoying. It was kind of annoying that I couldn't see the actual swarm damage and the damage we dealt. But I will say these were some pretty good points. I will say, like I said, I think that we traded worse here than we did on like helipad or something, where we were all grouped up and we were able to just hop through bases, kind of pop around in the field a lot more. We had a lot more just players kind of, just ported around, and it made it kind of hard for them to maintain field with all the bases and stuff, because we would just pop around, hit marches, reinforcing rallies, etc., etc. And they couldn't even keep rallies full. The trades were even like worse on those rallies because we would just try to murder their marches as they were coming along. We kind of forced them to do guard duty, and that just kind of drains people, right? Like where you're waddling around throughout the whole event, just trying to guard people who are reinforcing a rally. It's kind of annoying. But like I said, I think the trades were actually worse here than when we were on helipad or something, because I looked at the point ratio between like one of my accounts that was reinforcing this tower, and I will also give it that I was reinforcing with more than just infantry or siege, because I was trying to kill off my siege, or range. I wasn't reinforcing with any riders on my other alts, but I was reinforcing with all my troop types on my Tins and Catspina account, which did make my trades probably relatively worse. So it's kind of hard to actually tell. But I did notice that my points were lower by about 10 million than one of my other alts that lost even less troops, where Cat had like almost a million deads. The Futz account had, I think, 65 million points with only 700k deads, kind of holding towers. So I don't know. That might give some thoughts on that. I don't even know. I think I'm just talking about anything at this point. Honestly, don't know, guys. I have so many tower fights that I'm gonna try to actually cut these into as few videos as possible, because I know that it can be a little just weird, right? I feel it's really weird to watch tower fights for the duration of a video, just tower swarms. That's why I tried to speed up the footage so much, and you guys kind of see that here. And I mean, we go through some more reports, but I do think that the sped footage, you can kind of get an idea about the marches, I guess, roaming around the field, or or us trying to counterattack. And I think that's like the biggest thing, was just people were popping in and out of bases around the corners and just either hitting marches, or we're trying to like take advantage of, I guess, the swarmers, just in general. But this situation, like I said, was just really difficult. We weren't really as active right here. I feel like so many of our dudes were at work, and we just weren't able to maintain these towers. And I actually do end up porting 2 accounts in, being Cat and Tins, as you saw there. But the big issue for me was they end up coming in for swarms, right? And they maintain a swarm for, I'd like to estimate an hour to even maybe, I don't know, 30 minutes to an hour at least, right? And the thing is, I couldn't even teleport my account out, because I knew if I teleported, these little marches, they kind of take up space. So the ones swarming around it would already take up the space where my account was teleported at. So it's not like I could just replace it with another account, or I could send someone in. And even if I did have enough space, they would have instantly popped in the like little spot that I teleported from, and tried to totally stop people from I guess teleporting in there, which would be smart obviously, but it's just so hard, because then it kind of forces people to just start hopping through bases from further away, and it just made the situation kind of unbearable. It was a hard spot to be placed into. But honestly, on my earlier topic, I think that the best approach here was really to just play defensive and start backing up, because honestly, the second we lost our village, I think that we honestly lost. And people could argue otherwise, but I think the best situation for Boone was going to be kind of pushing through their village, building around it, and then we could have went on the defensive, because I feel like I said, the big issue for us is that we have the lack of might, we have a lack of, I guess, troops, we have a lack of whales, and field presence is not on our side. So our best shot would have actually been draining them on towers, taking better ratios on, I guess, injure/death ratios, right? And that was the big advantage that we needed to take. And of course, we do end up still doing that, but we didn't manage to actually take our village to be able to build around it and do all that. So it kind of put us into a particular situation, and it kind of just forced us to play back. And I do agree with my leadership actually at honestly just not making a push, because I don't think we would have been able to actually maintain field presence long enough to drop towers. One, drop the actual troops in it. Two, to actually hold the tower while it burnt, I just don't think that we have the field presence. I don't think we have the whale power. Like, we do have whales, but let's say they send out 20 tier 6 players, right? All of these guys are probably, let's say all of them are whales. We send out 20 tier 6 players, maybe 10 of those guys are whales, and those 10 can only maintain for so long. The trades they're going to be taking are going to be pretty mediocre when you kind of consider that they're going to be fighting against maybe 20 people more so than the other tier 6 players that we send out, which are going to be not whales, but they're more average players who do have tier 6, but they just aren't able to maintain as long. I think that's just like the big issue for me, is that we just totally lack absolute willpower here, right? And we wouldn't be able to overwhelm on the field. I think that an endurance fight on the field would not be optimal, especially with people like Envy or Hands, who probably have tens of billions, I'm just guessing, right, in their tokens or something, and just insane speed ups. And draining a player like that on the field is a basically impossible feat in this situation, right? Especially when he has like a bunch of support from his other whales. So I think, like I said, I think that we had to have gone defensive, and this kind of screwed us over, right? And yeah, I mean, it was honestly rough. I think that I still had fun this island, and I honestly just can't wait for other islands, or even RVR, which seems to be coming up. So, you guys tune in for that. That's going to be very exciting. But we do end up dropping our towers. I think that we just didn't have enough at the time online to actually maintain towers or keep it full, and we get a few people zeroed. We had, I think, two T6 players zeroed here, Pinky or whatever, and then we actually had an alt zeroed, so that kind of made the blow feel a little bit better. And honestly, this was a sad thing to see, our little whales dropping, but it is what it is. And I will start off the next video with some swarms, by the way, because we had some people playing dead who took on some swarms, some rallies. It was honestly pretty nice, and I will give it to HMB for actually freaking committing those swarms, or I guess Envy, because the dude is a freaking mad lad, just throwing his troops into the trash, like he just doesn't care. But yeah, I mean, I think the trades on the first swarms were generally better, but after maybe the third swarm, just not enough troops to start trading positive. But I will say there were so many people who were like tier 4, or even tier 5, or even tier 4, were swarming these targets, and then their trades were absolutely just terrible. And I think that it just made the actual value of the whales who were trading pretty positive worse, right? Because I mean, I always feel like this, right? You have a whale swarm a tower. You have a tier 4 player swarm the tower with them. You have the whale swarm, and they trade extremely positive, let's say 1 to 10. But then you have that other person who swarmed with the whale, and then they traded freaking like 20 to 20 to 1 or whatever. And then they lose all their troops in that tower, and then it's like, did the whale actually, did that alliance actually win that trade there? Because I mean, although they zeroed, or they burnt the tower out, it's like the dude who swarmed kind of made the trades really bad. And I feel like that's the big issue with swarms like these. You have so many people who are like, oh, I want to hop in on this swarm, and then they end up losing all their troops. And I know these people probably don't actually care about all the troops they were losing, but dude, when you're losing this many troops in like a swarm like that, is, yeah, dude, I can't if it's not like trade efficient. If it's not positive trades, just don't swarm. If you're like 50 million, you see your whale swarming like 100 mil player, why are you hopping in on that swarm? I know your adrenaline gets pumping, but when you look at those reports, you are going to be crying afterwards. It's so painful every time I see it. But now you're going to be looking through, I guess, some reports, some towers. You're going to see the defensive reports on those bases, and some of those base reports are actually just mad. But yeah, I think this is the end of the video for me on commentary, because there are only reports left, and I want to just leave you guys. To view these reports and enjoy these reports. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one, though. You guys enjoy looking at 3 minutes of reports. But peace out, and I will see you guys.